Good morning. My name is Bruce E. Travers, and I'm the bell ringer today. I'm also your lay leader. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. Whether you've been with this church for a decade or more, or this is your first time, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, whatever your journey has been, we welcome you. We begin our service by acknowledging that the land we stand on was taken from the local indigenous people. Inspired by their culture, may we strive to become better stewards of the earth. Newcomers and guests are always welcome to participate in any of our church activities. If you'd like more information about our church or Unitarian Universalism, please talk to our Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Dana Poss, or one of our board members. You can find contact information for Dana and the board on our website, uucnh.org. Please join us for coffee hour following the service. At this time, I would ask everyone here to silence your cell phones. And for those viewing online, it might not be a bad idea to silence yours too. Let's take this time. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. It is good to be together, both in person and virtually. We have a couple of announcements. Well, 3 actually, that's not a couple. Please join fellow Unitarian Universalists from across the region for this year's Unitarian Universalists of Greater Pittsburgh Annual Assembly, which will be held virtually and in person November 12th at First Unitarian Church in Shadyside. Please see the e-news for more information. And you are all invited to Raise the Roof Fest after church on October 16th. This involves a wonderful catered lunch, so we need an accurate count. We will have a taco bar, not just any taco bar, but a super taco bar. Gourmet popcorn, cake, so I'm there, and karaoke. Blueberry Hill is less than 10 minutes from here. Please RSVP to Beth Zach. People who are here can see Beth. And you can also RSVP, if you're not here, you can go online by clicking the RSVP link in the e-news. And finally, the biannual Bellwood Kids Sale, kids stuff sale. We're not selling kids. Just the stuff. Kids stuff is happening this Friday and Saturday. After the kids stuff sale, October 8th at 12 p.m., we are going to need volunteers to not only box up the leftovers, but also to take them to their favorite charity. Please contact Erin Teresi if you can help out in any way. Our call to worship this morning is from Rebecca Parker. Why does it matter that women's reproductive choices be protected? Because we live in a broken world where life is at risk in many ways. The power to choose is the power of life in the midst of brokenness. Without choice, tragedy, impasse, and despair are the last word. With choice, Creativity, responsibility, and possibility enter the conversation. With choice, human beings enter into fuller personhood, becoming creative agents in the world who can transform life in the direction of greater justice, safety, and joy. A society in which human beings accept that life and death are in their hands is a better society. Embracing creativity and responsibility is a spiritual value that applies beyond the questions of pregnancy and childbirth. To know that we have choice is to know that life is not predetermined, that we do not simply have to comply with established structures, rote patterns, and dictates of despair. It is to know that we are not helpless in the face of overwhelming events. We all need the spiritual knowledge that life and death are in our hands, and we all need to do the hard work of ethical discernment, of accepting that life and death are ours to choose. Why should we march to keep abortion safe and legal? Because where there is choice, there is life. Where there is life, there is hope. And where there is hope, we find ourselves holding bundles of joy in our arms. Each of us bears in our own bodies the powers of holding on and of letting go. We light this chalice to celebrate the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to reaffirm the historic pledge of liberal religion to seek that justice which transcends mere legality and moves towards the resolution of true equality, and to share that love which is ultimately beyond even our cherished reason, that love which unites us.
Hi, I'm Jen Sear. I'm proud to serve UUCNH this year as the president of the Board of Trustees. I have been coming to UUCNH since July 2014 with my then 2-year-old son, Mark, and my infant daughter, Sarah. I officially became a member in November 2014. It's almost been 8 years. I didn't grow up going to church. I never really felt comfortable in other churches, but with 2 young children, I started to think about what kind of upbringing did I want them to have. I took a test online of what religion should I be? And it said 100% Unitarian Universalism. And I said, well, what is that? And I started doing some research, and then I found this church and started coming here. I just think about the first time I came here, I've never really felt like I immediately fit in anywhere. I've always felt a little bit odd. I'm sometimes a little bit socially awkward. So the fact that I came in here on the first day and immediately felt like this is the place for me, that was really meaningful. And one of the things that I really love is how multi-generational we are. We have people from baby all the way up to, that have been here for decades. And I think that there's something really valuable in that we can all support each other. And it just feels like a home away from home, which I really appreciate. When I think about the future of UUCNH and this capital campaign, I immediately think of our founders, the people that started this church from nothing. They purchased this land, they turned this beautiful grounds and this dairy barn into a community. And it's been through a lot of changes over the years, but the thing that really unites us is that hard work and the sacrifice that they went through to build the place and to keep it up, and the vision that they had to be able to do that and to be able to think we can create this community out of nothing. And we've been really fortunate that we've been able to have it here. And I think this is an opportunity for us as a church to say, what do we want the future of UUCNH to be? It's not, we obviously need to fix the roof because we don't want it to start leaking on us, but it's about a lot more than that to me. It's about who are we as people? Where do we want to go? This is a chance for us to really dream big. And it takes money. A lot of times we don't like to talk about money, but it takes money to make these big dreams a reality. So let's dream big and let's give big. I can't wait.
I came to UUCNH. Why will I give to the Capital Campaign? Let's begin at the beginning. I came to UUCNH at a time of profound loss in my life. My husband and I were lapsed UUs, but when he died, I knew I wanted to hold his memorial service in a UU church. Reverend Scott Rudolph conducted a beautiful, meaningful service honoring Jeff. And soon I knew that I had found a community where I could navigate my new reality with loving support. And since then, and that's been 10 years, my life has expanded in so many ways, thanks to the people of this congregation. You kindled my joy of singing when I joined the choir. You helped me become active in voting and social justice work. You upended my sedentary lifestyle by reintroducing me to hiking and backpacking. You renewed my love of travel and provided an outlet for my creativity and pushed me out of my comfort zone into leadership roles. My life is richer now than I ever expected it would be. What does the future of UUCNH mean to me? I see UUCNH as a place where we are called upon to become our best selves, where we intentionally practice kindness and inclusion. This can be hard work, fraught with conflict, and the outcomes are not always what we intend. However, I've witnessed the power of covenant to promote positive interaction inside and outside the congregation. We are all inextricably interdependent. I would like to see us retrofit our barn to make our church home environmentally sustainable. I want to see us educate ourselves about the history of racism in our country and become partners with other justice-seeking groups. I want to see us take care of our beautiful grounds and honor the folks who built and grew the church. In short, I want the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills to always be here for folks who are striving to heal themselves and to mend a broken world. Thank you.
Okay, let's sing. Our opening hymn is number 109 in the gray hymnal, As We Come Marching, Marching. The words will also be on your screen.
All right, fine, I'll just take the two. Come on, Jen. Thank you, Jen. So this book is called Every Human Has Rights. It's a photo declaration for kids, and it's based on the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights with poetry. But I'm just going to read the words, and we'll look at the amazing pictures. It'll be up on the screen for everybody. All humans are born free with the same dignity and rights. Everyone has the same rights. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, what language you speak, what religion you practice, how rich or poor you are, how different you are from those around you, or what country you come from. It doesn't even matter whether your own government agrees with these rights. Your rights are in you, no matter what. It's a very sticky book, guys, sorry. You have the right to a free and safe life. Nobody has the right to make you a slave. Nobody has the right to torture you or bully you or punish you too severely. Every human in the world must be treated as a person. Everyone has the right to be treated equally before the law. If your rights aren't respected, you should be able to get help from the law. Nobody has the right to arrest you or put you in prison unfairly. If you are accused of a crime, you have a right to a fair trial. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to privacy. Nobody can tell lies about you, and nobody can look at your private belongings without private belongings, writings, or body without your permission. You have the right to move around your country. You have the right to leave your country and come back to it if you want to. If you aren't safe in your country, you have the right to go to another country. You have the right to belong to a country. Every adult has the right to marry and have a family, but no one can force you to get married. In marriage, both partners are equal. You have the right to your own things. You have the right to believe anything you want to, practice or not practice your faith, and to change your beliefs at any time. You have the right to have any opinion and to create art of any kind. You have the right to share your opinions and your art with anyone from any country. You have the right to meet with others peacefully for any purpose, but no one can force you to join a group if you don't want to. Every adult has the right to an equal say in the government and an equal opportunity to work for the government. Every country must hold free and fair elections. You have the right to get help from your government if you are out of work, sick, disabled, or can't make enough money to live for any reason. Sorry, guys. All adults have the right to work and must be paid for their work and treated fairly and equally in the workplace. You have the right to free time. You have the right to food, shelter, and health care. You have the right to go to school for free. You have the right to enjoy culture, arts, and scientific progress. You have the right to own anything you create or discover. You have the right to live in a world where everyone's human rights are respected. Your human rights are yours always. Nobody can take them away. All right, now we'll sing the children out to their RE classes. The words will be on the screen.
Good morning. I'm Lynn from the Lake Pastoral. During our service, we create this sacred space for sharing within our community. It is a time to share significant life passages with the congregation so that you can be held in loving care. I'll be reading the joys and sorrows this morning, and Lynn Herkenrother will be placing a stone representing each joy or sorrow in the sand. The sand represents our congregation supporting our sorrows and lifting up our joys. Today, we have 2 joyful updates and 1 flat-out joy. First, from Sandy Faulkner. Sandy reports that she is happy to be home from the hospital and appreciates your emails and notes. To Sandy, we say, we share in your joy. And from Tassie Bisers. We arrived safely Thursday afternoon after a stop in East Troy, Wisconsin, with one of Lisa's bridesmaids. Wonderful to be with the grandkids and see where and what they've been up to. To Tassie, we say, we share in your joy. And a joy from Bruce Travers. I was so happy to see so many UUCNH faces in the crowd for my performance last night with the Bobcat players. Your support means the world to me and carried me through a challenging role. To Bruce, we say, we share in your joy. We now place one more stone in the sand for all the joys and sorrows that do exist in our hearts, but which remain unspoken today. We especially think of our church community as we move through this transition period to our future. Please know that the lay pastoral care team is here for you, to listen and to support you. You can always reach us collectively via the Breeze Forum, our lpct@uucnh.org email, or individually as you might choose. From near and far, please say with me our caring words. Let us hold in our circle of caring each person here. Let us hold in our hearts those who are unable to be with us today. Let us hold in our memories those who have moved on. Let us find comfort in knowing that we are not alone.
All right, everybody settle in, get comfortable. We're going to do something a little different today. I learned this from Dana at a youth group retreat. What we're going to do is, if you're capable, raise your hands. If not, you can open your fists or whatever. But I'm going to hit the chime, and keep your hands up until you no longer can hear the chime anymore. Close your eyes, and once you've stopped hearing the chime, you bring your arms down. And then when everybody's arms are down, you can go ahead and play your music. Sounds good? All right. Close your eyes, raise your arms, or your hands, or whatever you're going to do.
We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure that funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. If you're here with us today in person, you can put your offering in the baskets being passed by the ushers. If you're joining us virtually, you can make your offering by mailing a check to the church or going to the uucnh.org website, finding the link in the upper right-hand corner that says Donate, and making a contribution equivalent to what you would be putting in the plate, or maybe a little bit more. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Bread for the World. Bread for the World is a nonpartisan Christian advocacy organization based in the United States that advocates for policy changes to end hunger. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please join me in saying the dedication of the offering. The words will be on the screen. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith.
Today's special music, sadly, is as relevant now as it was when it came out 50 years ago. Originally recorded in 1972, Loretta Lynn's The Pill was not released until 1975. It was so controversial that it was held back by her record label. It almost got her banned from the Grand Ole Opry, as the more conservative country music world was not ready to celebrate the idea of female contraception. It was a protest song for women's reproductive rights and mirrored her own real-life experiences. She was quoted in an interview as saying, "If I had had the pill back when I was having babies, I'd have taken them like popcorn." The pill is good for people. I wouldn't trade my kids for anyone's, but I wouldn't necessarily have had 6, and I sure would have spaced them better. Loretta Lynn said that the medical professionals often told her that her song was more successful at promoting rural acceptance of birth control than any efforts by social services or medical professionals. So big thank you to Nancy Kepner, who is going to perform it for us.
You wined me and dined me when I was your girl. Promised if I'd be your wife, you'd show me the world. But all I've seen of this old world is a bed and a doctor bill. I'm tearing down your brooder house, 'cause now I've got the pill. All these years I've stayed at home while you've had all your fun. And every year that's gone by, another baby's come. There's gonna be some changes made right here on Nursery Hill. You set this chicken your last time, 'cause now I've got the pill. This old maternity dress I've got, it's going in the garbage. The clothes I'm wearing from now on won't take up so much yardage. Mini skirts, hot pants, and a few little fancy frills. Yeah, I'm making up for all those years since I've got the pill. I'm tired of all your crowing, how you and your hens play, while holding a couple in my arms, another's on the way. This chicken's done tore up her nest, and I'm ready to make a deal. And you can't afford to turn it down, 'cause you know I've got the pill. This incubator is overused because you've kept it filled. The feeling good comes easy now since I've got the pill. It's getting dark, it's roosting time. Tonight's too good to be real. Oh, but Daddy, don't you worry none, 'cause Mama's got the pill. Oh, but Daddy, don't you worry none, 'cause Mama's got the pill.
Sorry, Tyler, you have to follow that. So the Women's Law Project is a nonprofit public interest legal organization working to defend and advance the rights of women, girls, and LGBTQ plus people in Pennsylvania and beyond. With the overturn of Roe v. Wade a few months ago, and reproductive rights left up to individual states, many of the states have enacted their own restrictive laws around reproductive health care decisions. Here in Pennsylvania, for now, reproductive health care decisions and access to abortion remain legal. But we can't take this for granted. Today we welcome Tyler Gillett, law clerk with the Women's Law Project, as he shares the state of reproductive rights in Pennsylvania, as well as ways to support continued access. Thank you, Tyler.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. As she said, my name's Tyler Gillett, and I'm a law clerk with the Women's Law Project. The Women's Law Project was founded in 1974. We engage in impact litigation and select individual representation, policy and legislative advocacy, and in public education in order to effect change on a local, state, and national level. I've been asked to speak about reproductive justice and reproductive rights in a post-Roe Pennsylvania. Reproductive justice is a concept that's been defined and developed by women of color. The organization's sister song, which fights for reproductive justice, defines it as the human right to maintain personal bodily autonomy, have children, not have children, and parent the children we have in safe and sustainable communities. Reproductive justice is not simply the right to choose, although that is a part of it. Choice alone is not enough. Without access, choice is meaningless. Reproductive justice is also not just about abortion. It's about access to real sex education, access to contraception, prenatal and pregnancy care, living wages to support families, accessible and affordable housing, and so much more. But access to abortion is a big part of it. Abortion care is health care, with estimates that 1 in 4 pregnant persons have or will need an abortion in their lifetimes. In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court held in Roe v. Wade that there is a fundamental right to an abortion, a holding the court reaffirmed and upheld time and time again, until earlier this year in the case of Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. A radical majority on the court, led by Justice Alito, overruled nearly 50 years of precedent and reliance and determined that simply because the word abortion never appears in our Constitution, there must not be a right to it. Alito wrote that the right to an abortion is not deeply held in our history and tradition, by which he meant exclusively the history and tradition of dead rich white men. The court's decision threw the question of abortion back to Congress and state legislatures, and as of today, abortion has been almost completely banned in 13 states, mostly in the Midwest and the South. It's a fluid situation. We have a law intern whose job it is to keep track of which states have banned abortion or lifted bans in the past week. It's hard for us, let alone the general public, to have any idea of what their rights are on any given day. Other states, like Georgia, have imposed 6-week abortion bans, which is well before most people even know they're pregnant. So abortion is effectively banned there as well. And recently, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham put forward a bill to impose a nationwide 15-week abortion ban. This is prior to scans that occur around 18 to 20 weeks that can reveal fetal abnormalities. Such a nationwide ban would lead to adverse outcomes for pregnant people seeking abortions, many of whom would be blocked by such a ban. The freedom to decide whether one will have a child and when and how is under threat. And frankly, it has been under threat for a long time, especially for people from poor and marginalized communities. Other consequences of the bans in the prohibition states include an upswing in unwanted pregnancies coming to term, as 2 out of 3 people who need to travel out of state for an abortion cannot afford to travel. Those who are prevented from accessing abortion care are more likely to experience poor health for years after pregnancy, more likely to suffer serious complications at the end of pregnancy, and more likely to end up living below the federal poverty line. There are also repercussions for people seeking abortions in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh is one of 5 regions across the country experiencing a surge in abortion demand because of people coming from out of state. And we only have 2 clinics serving the entire western half of Pennsylvania. Those 2 clinics are now seeing 3 times the number of patients, with the majority coming from Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. This increases wait times for appointments from days to weeks, which will lead to more second trimester abortions. It's also denying access to local residents, some of whom find themselves going to Philadelphia, New Jersey, or New York. Abortion bans also have consequences for pregnant people who are not seeking an abortion. Where abortion is illegal, pregnancy is investigated and policed. For example, there's no easy way to distinguish between a medication-induced abortion and a natural miscarriage. In states that prohibit abortion, pregnant persons who lose pregnancies will be viewed as losing those pregnancies in suspicious circumstances, guilty until proven innocent. This increased scrutiny will almost certainly greatly impact communities that are already over-policed, including communities of color. So how do we in Pennsylvania combat all this? Later on this month, on October 26th, the state Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments in a case the Women's Law Project is bringing on behalf of Pennsylvania's abortion providers. It challenges the state's Medicaid abortion coverage ban. This ban on using state funds to cover abortion services is an unjust barrier to access for people living in poverty, and it also disproportionately impacts people of color who need abortions. If our litigation is successful, it will not only provide immediate relief to pregnant people in dire financial straits, it will also help establish a state constitutional right to abortion care. However, anti-abortion legislators in the General Assembly are attempting to short-circuit our Medicaid case. They've introduced a bill, SB 106, which is a package of amendments to the state constitution passed in the dead of night last July. The process of amending the state constitution requires that the amendment pass through 2 successive legislative sessions, then it goes on a ballot before the voters. So SB 106 has passed the legislature once, could pass again in January after the new legislature is seated, and be on the ballot as early as next May. One critical point to note is the governor cannot veto constitutional amendments. The main thing SB 106 does is it removes the right to an abortion in the state. The text of the amendment is short and simple. Quote, "This Constitution does not grant the right to taxpayer-funded abortion or any other right relating to abortion." Pennsylvanians potentially have strong state constitutional protection of the right to an abortion, which is why anti-abortion state lawmakers have launched this attack. Just to be clear, the amendment itself does not ban abortion, but it would permanently eliminate our right to an abortion. Once that right is gone, it opens the door to complete criminalization or Texas-style citizen vigilante bans. If abortion opponents can get Pennsylvanians to pass this amendment, it will strip away all protections. And without a state constitutional right, the legislature can then move to abolish abortion entirely. SB 106 would also institute a number of voter suppression amendments, including strict voter ID and residency requirements. These requirements, in particular the identification requirement, will have the harshest impact on low-income people in communities of color. It's telling that the package of amendments not only takes aim at abortion rights, but also at voting rights. Anti-abortion legislators know this is not a popular position, and they're doing everything in their power to prevent the people from being able to oppose them. It's imperative that voters contact their state representatives and senators and urge them to fight against a second passage of SB 106. It's imperative that people spread the word, let their friends and neighbors know what's going on in Harrisburg, and urge them to oppose this attempt to circumvent our fundamental rights. Even if the amendment is not successful, we still need to be wary. The anti-abortion faction in the state legislature has, in fact, passed a number of restrictions on abortion over the past few years. Restrictions Governor Wolf has vetoed, and he's vowed to veto any abortion restrictions that make it out of the state legislature. Without having that veto protection in place, Pennsylvania could look a lot more like Texas right now. Unfortunately, anti-abortion lawmakers currently hold both houses of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, so unless one or both houses flip, it's very likely it will be up to the next governor to decide if new abortion restrictions make it into law or not. Legislators have twice introduced a so-called heartbeat abortion ban. Thankfully, it has been stuck in committee both times. This bill would ban all abortions after the detection of a heartbeat. The collection of cells that will eventually become a heart starts emitting electrical impulses at around 6 weeks, so the bill would ban all abortions after that time, when most people don't know they're pregnant. It's not all doom and gloom, though. There is hope. We see it in the 70% of Americans who believe there should be a right to an abortion. We saw it earlier this year in Kansas, where people resoundingly defeated a similar amendment to revoke the right to an abortion. We see it in the upswing in voter registrations, especially among women. And we see it in initiatives at the local level. Pittsburgh City Council, in fact, just days after the Dobbs decision, passed several laws protecting the right to an abortion locally. One was a shield law that would protect local providers from out-of-state investigations, which is critical since some states have banned abortions. Some states that have banned abortions are threatening to reach out beyond their borders to punish residents that travel to obtain abortion, or to punish those who help them obtain abortions. We need more laws like Pittsburgh's Shield Law, and we need them at all levels of government, particularly at the county level, to prevent the district attorney's office from cooperating with out-of-state prosecutions. Another ordinance cracks down on the deceptive advertising practices of so-called crisis pregnancy centers, places that hold themselves out as facilities for prenatal care, but are in fact anti-abortion organizations that especially prey upon low-income people with unintended pregnancies, with the aim of preventing them from accessing both abortion and contraception. This type of legislation is particularly important in Pennsylvania, where crisis pregnancy centers outnumber abortion clinics by 9 to 1. The state government actually funds these false organizations to the tune of millions of dollars a year. But above all, we need to be engaged in our elective and legislative processes to ensure that policies that reflect reproductive justice are supported at every level of government. At the national level, we can push Congress to codify Roe into law to guarantee a right to abortion nationwide. This would not only secure abortion rights in Pennsylvania, but it would bring relief to all those who are denied their rightful health care in the prohibition states. We can also support passage of the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. This bill would help eliminate discrimination against pregnant people in the workplace and would grant them access to temporary reasonable accommodations. The act is already passed in the House, but is being held up in the Senate. Senator Casey is a strong supporter of the bill, and we should urge him to work with Senate leadership to find a way forward to passage. We can support state and local organizations like the Western Pennsylvania Fund for Choice, which provides financial support to patients at the Allegheny Reproductive Health Center, one of Pittsburgh's 2 clinics. They can be found at wpafundforchoice.org. We can support or volunteer with the Steel City Access Network, which works with clinics to provide rides and other assistance to patients. You can contact them at steelcityaccessnetwork@gmail.com. And you can sign up for the Women's Law Project mailing list, which will keep you apprised of the latest developments regarding reproductive rights in Pennsylvania and what you can do to help. And I have a sign-up sheet for that after the service. But most of all, we need to fight against SB 106, the anti-abortion constitutional amendment, and we need to reach out to friends and neighbors to fight alongside us. Abortion opponents rely on secrecy, deception, and low voter turnout to force their policies through. Now more than ever, we need to reach out to everyone we know and let them in on what's going on in Harrisburg, because the more people are aware of the breadth of the anti-abortion agenda, the more people will fight against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our closing hymn is number 1028 in the Teal hymnals, The Fire of Commitment. The words will be on the screen. Sorry, that song always choked me up. Please join in affirming our mission statement. By building a loving religious community that nourishes the spirit, celebrates life, and cherishes the connectedness of all things, we will transform ourselves and our world. Our closing words are from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The decision whether or not to bear a child is central to a woman's life, to her well-being and her dignity. It is a decision she must make for herself. When the government controls that decision for her, she is being treated as less than a full adult human, responsible for her own choices.